We are going to see how to write a story in 4 minutes. After watching the picture, looking at the picture for 30 seconds, you are expected to write a story in 4 minutes using all the details which you noticed and as per the format that is supposed to be followed. First is the introduction. Basically, in any story, the story will be divided into various parts. In order to make the reader understand about what the story is all about, of course, from the heading, some kind of an inkling is given, but with introduction, basically, you are trying to show the setting of the story, what really happened, and all those in a very nutshell format. The introduction has to be crisp. That means you cannot write the whole story in the introduction itself. You have to mention only the key details so that the story gets to start. The start point is there and you give a idea as to what this story is about. So it has to be a crisp introduction. Don't describe the picture. Some people do this mistake. When they see the picture, whatever they've seen and noted mentally from the picture, they start writing it. Okay, don't do that. Just give an introduction of the whole setting in few lines only. Just don't tell the pair, say there is a train standing, people are getting down. I can see a bus next to the railway station. The board is something is written on the board. So describe the picture is not permitted. You are not supposed to describe the picture. The introduction should relate to the theme and characters. If it is a railway station theme and about a train and people, so your introduction should relate to that. You cannot write something which is not there, unrelated thing and unrelated characters. So the theme as well as the characters have to be from the picture. Now, writing a story. Now, the story has to be divided into parts. The first thing is what led to the situation. That is, it is like a pre-story. There is some situation which has been shown in the picture, and what happened immediately before this has to be covered it in only in 1 or 2 lines. You cannot write more lines. Don't make a big paragraph out of it. Just write what happened in that situation before what is shown in the picture. So then what is happening now? So the current activity has to be described in 5 to 6 lines. Again, do not describe the picture, describe the activity. Note this point. Some people make this mistake of, again, there is a train standing, people are getting out of the train, there is a bus parked near the railway station. These things are not required. You have to say what is happening in that situation as per your imagination. This will be 5 to 6 lines. So note this down. When you practice, you have to try to reach these limits. You can't write less, you can't write more. Approximately 5 to 6 lines. So then what's happening? How do you write that? First is the initial attempt. Initial attempt means the hero looks at the situation and whatever he or she does is the initial attempt. For example, a person is injured and lying in a pool of blood. I keep taking this example because you can easily relate it. The same example, when you relate it again and again, it's easy for me to make you understand. So as soon as you, the hero, looks at a scenario where somebody is hurt and is bleeding, lying in a pool of blood, what is the initial attempt? Initial attempt is, say for example, the hero or heroine tries to give first aid. At the same time, tells some friend, asks some friend to get some bandage or anything from the car in the nearby place. Maybe the car itself which was a part of the accident, or some medical shop nearby. Then another friend or somebody nearby can be told to call the police or the ambulance. So these are all the initial attempt. So initially, before you lay your hands on the problem, you do all these things so that your job can be more successful in a faster time frame. When you start doing everything yourself, I started giving first aid, then I called the ambulance, then I called the police. So when you as a person start doing everything on your own, it cannot work that way, because team effort is part of the OLQs which are expected to be displayed by you. So basically you are using your friends, maybe somebody who's standing there, some villager, shopkeeper, some other driver, you can request them for help. A hero does not always do everything all by himself or herself. A hero or a heroine is a team player. As an army, as a lieutenant, you will be head of a team, but you're not a boss, you're a leader. You have to get together with the team, you know, and make them understand the problem. You have to explain it to them, give them tasks, make them do it, and finally accomplish the task. So as a leader, you are supposed to delegate the responsibilities to people also. So initial attempt encompasses all this. You have to delegate the work to people, you have to do what you have to do, plus for additional action you have to delegate people. So all this forms the initial attempt. So in initial attempt, the hero takes proactive step. Note this word proactive, underline it. A hero always steps forward to take responsibility in a situation, whether good or bad. The hero is there to take charge of the situation. The hero is not a person who looks at that accident scene and expects somebody to call the ambulance on their own, or somebody to go and give the first aid to that people. The hero is the person who steps forward first to take control of the situation, to take action on whatever is supposed to be done. So hero has to take a proactive step. So when you write a story, you should remember that the hero should be taking proactive steps. If the hero starts copying others or starts following others, it becomes difficult. Okay. Addresses the challenge and achieves the goal. Addresses the challenge means the challenge may be one, may be many at the same time. Say in the same example of an accident where somebody is injured and lying in a pool of blood, what are the challenges you have? The primary challenge is to save that person who is bleeding. Next is to clear the traffic. Next is to provide help or get some help to clear that vehicle which is has met an accident and is blocking the road. Take it to the workshop or something. Then the option is to ensure that such accidents do not happen in that place. So these are the challenges. Now these challenges cannot be addressed at the same time. So you have to divide these challenges mentally as to urgent and important, urgent and not important, important but not urgent, and not important, not urgent. So this is how you have to classify these mentally, because as a hero you cannot say, if the person is battling for life, you cannot start thinking how to stop those accidents there. Let me put a speed breaker or something there, divert the traffic, something like that. So it is irrelevant. At that point of time, you have to address what is important and urgent first. So this calculation has to be done by you in your mental faculty. Like when you people start practicing, when you see a picture and start practicing, please make these columns readily in your paper for practice, okay, not for the original test. Please make these columns as per this and then write down what is supposed to be written there. If you have divided these problems as per the priority and the urgency, importance, you should write it somewhere so that you get into the habit of thinking logically when you encounter this problem. And achieving goal, of course, yes, you have to achieve all goals. If you are going to watch a movie and en route you found a accident, it should so happen that you have taken care of the accident related tasks, challenges, solved them, and after that you should be going and watching your movie also. Remember that always. You are a normal human being. You want to watch a movie, you're going along with your friends. There is a problem, somebody was dying, battling for life. After helping that person and resolving that issue, please always ensure that you go and do what you were supposed to do. You cannot miss that thing, because finally achieving the goal is what a leader is expected to do. For example, you have been asked to capture a mountain crest, a point. You are given a platoon, you have been told, okay, go and capture point 5249. So that is your goal. While you are doing this, while you are executing that operation, one of your man may get injured. He may be severely injured. He may be needing urgent medical attention. But while attending to that person, taking care of that person, you cannot lose sight of your own goal. You have to do this as well as that. That is like a leader. So remember this always. Then showcases determination and courage. Okay, so if it is a situation where there is an accident, riot, or a crime or anything, courage comes into play. But in a situation where there is an academic pursuit, there is a sport or anything, determination comes into play beyond courage, because determination is everywhere. As a leader, you will have so many setbacks. You will have so many problems, challenges on the way to achieving your goal. So you should be determined to solve all of them and also achieve your main goal. And if it is a situation which requires display of courage on your part, you have to do that. Basically, the hero. You means the hero. The hero means you. Through the hero, you are actually displaying your officer-like qualities in the story. So always remember, determination and courage have to be shown there. So when you spin the story, you have to keep these things in mind and add it. But as I told you in the last class, no keyword stuffing. Just because I have asked you to show determination and courage, you can't write in every story that so and so Manoj was determined to pass the exam and he courageously attempted the question paper. It looks very stupid. You have to use the right word, right sentence at the right place. You can't just stuff all these keywords at every random place. You will get shot down. Remember that. Next, detailed actions. Again, if you remember in the last class, I had pointed out one of your aspirants who was just giving a one-line solution. He saved the injured person, and after that he went and attended his tournament. Something like that was told last time. So this one-line action, one-line achievement of goal actually means that you don't know anything. Detailed actions show that you have the knowledge of that. That is why last time I told you, you have to do a part-time business or a part-time job or a volunteering work so that you get real life experience. Then you will be very good at detailed actions. If you know how to give first aid, if you know which number is to be dialed to call the ambulance, if you know what kind of bandage needs to be applied for a leg injury, what kind of bandage needs to be applied for a head injury, they are different. If there is a fracture, that separate kind of first aid needs to be given. If you have not practiced this in real life, you will give this one word answer saying that I gave the first aid and saved that person in one go. So the story falls flat. So always remember, you have to give small details. Okay, you have to apply your mind. So if a person is injured, you have to give first aid. Will you be carrying all the bandage, medicine, scissors, gauze, cotton and everything along with you all the time? No, you will not be doing that. But common sense, if you have driven a vehicle, if you have opened a vehicle's glove compartment and seen what is there inside, especially a car, even in two wheelers it is there, there is a first aid kit kept in all vehicles. I don't know how many of you have seen it even. So there is a first aid kit kept inside. So basically you write that Raju took the first aid kit from the car and he applied the bandage to the injured portion in the head of this person. So then you will write. Then Raju also told his friend Manoj to call 108 for summoning an ambulance to shift this person to the hospital. So if you have done it, you will know. When you write all these small details, it actually adds a lot of weightage to your story. Small things, but they have a lot of effect because it shows that the hero has got knowledge about a lot of things. Hero means it is you. If you have the knowledge, you will be able to write the story very well. So detailed actions have to be depicted. Okay, so remember this, whenever you write a story, please include small things also, small step by step. As I told you, it is not arriving at the solution as soon as you got the mathematical problem. You have to derive the formula, you have to show the application of that formula to this problem step by step and finally arrive at the result. Same way, in attempting to solve these problems, the hero is supposed to go step by step logically with a lot of details, which will stand out when you present your story. Again, the same thing, specific actions of hero leading to resolution of a problem or achieving the aim. For example, somebody was talking about the civil services exam, cracking the civil services exam. See, one candidate writes, he studied hard and cracked the civil services exam. That is one candidate. Another candidate writes, he brainstormed with his friends and with his teachers to decide upon the elective subject. And after that, he went to the district library, referred to a lot of books and made the notes, and also referred to a lot of sources like Doordarshan, All India Radio and other channels for the current affairs preparation. He also made a proper daily routine where he spent time for exercise, sleep as well as studies systematically, and then he revised it again and again, and finally he cleared the exam with flying colors. You know the difference between both the stories. First story is plain simple without details. That shows that the candidate does not have imagination. The candidate does not have the idea how to prepare for an exam, which is a basic thing which every student is supposed to know. So that story falls flat. You will not come into the limelight. But if you produce this story and narrate it, it shows that you have got a lot of knowledge and imagination also. Sometimes you may not know how it is done. For example, I don't know how the civil services exam is, actually, to be frank. I know there is a preliminary exam. I know there is a later main exam. I know some subjects are to be selected, studied, and you pass it, and after that you have to attend an interview. That's all I know. But with my imagination, I could give all these step by step activities which I told you short while ago. That is the imagination. Your imagination is something very, very valuable. Please use it. Don't just write simple sentences and without any step by step information of the detailed actions the hero takes to solve the problem or to achieve the aim. Next, we go to the next point, collaboration. I told about this earlier. A leader is always a team man. A leader is not a lone person who always looks for self glory. A leader is a team leader. Leader itself means you are leading a team. So you have to involve the team. You have to keep them informed. You have to explain the problem to them. You have to delegate them work. You cannot do all the work by yourself and take the name. That is not like a good leader. So collaboration. What is collaboration? If you have a set of friends which you have along with you when you see that problem, you can take help from them. You can give them tasks. You can request them to assist you in solving the problem. If you are alone and you don't have any friends, you can always ask some fellow traveler, some passerby, some shopkeeper nearby for help. So that is collaboration. Always ensure that you have collaborated with others to arrive at your solution or the problem solving. Emphasize teamwork. So coordination between the team members, whether it is your own friend group or maybe you have formed an ad hoc team with a shopkeeper, with another car driver, with a bullock car driver, with a student who is sitting there, a shopkeeper, somebody. So that teamwork has to be very important. You have to show it at all times. Wherever possible, teamwork should be visible because that ticks one more OLQ, that you are a person who is a team player and you are not a loner. Collective effort and support. It's also the same. Basically, different people provide different assistance to you in solving the problem. And you take support from them. You take support from the government agencies. For example, you find there is a bomb which is kept in the railway track. So you cannot all alone go and resolve that. There may be terrorists there, they may have guns. The bomb may go off even before you reach there. So you always take support. You go to the nearest level crossing where there is a small cabin and a person is manning that cabin. He will have a telephone line. You will use that to inform the station master there is something wrong. You also call the police. You call the ambulance just in case some accident is likely to take place. So you always go for a collective effort and you take support from whoever is there who are likely to support you. There is a post office, there is a postmaster sitting there, and there is a landline telephone. In case you don't get signal in the mobile, you can always go and take help. Sir, I need to make a call. This is urgent. You take his permission and make a call. So always seek and accept support from people around you. A leader always does it. A leader is not, as I told you, he is not a loner. He is not a person who looks for self-glory, who does not take all the credit to himself. He gives credit to others before he takes credit for himself. Rather, you should not take credit for himself. You just give it to others. Your own glory will be recognized by others. You don't have to take credit for anything at all. So remember this. Next is adapting strategy. Okay, adapting strategy is basically how you intend to solve the problem. So the person is injured and is lying, unconscious. How do you want to solve it? Do you want to wait for the ambulance or you want to do something on your own? Do you want to search in case somebody is there? Maybe there is a medical shop nearby Maybe the pharmacist is qualified in first aid. If you don't know how to do it, you can always call the pharmacist and ask him, please give some first aid to this person, he's unconscious. So the strategy is yours. How you're going to adapt the strategy is your baby. That is your thought process and imagination. In order to give a sound strategy, in order to make your mind work, you need to have, I repeat again, the real life experience. Quote unquote, real life experience. Part time job, part time business, volunteer work, working at home in important or small chores at home. This is what will give you the ideas. Your mind will work that time. If you are a couch potato, if you are a digital junkie, always into the digital world, not going on into the real world and facing the hardships in the real world, your mind will not work. You will not be able to generate the story. Remember that always. Adjusting approach against setbacks. This is something very important because you try to give first aid, but that first aid is not working. What will you do? You can't say that I know how to give first aid, I am giving first aid, but it is not working, but I'll still do that. That is wrong. In case something does not work, you have to look for alternative. In case you call the ambulance, this is an example I'm giving you. The ambulance has been summoned, but the ambulance is taking time, it has not reached. The patient is unconscious and the patient is profusely bleeding. What will you do? You have to adjust the approach. Instead of waiting for the ambulance, you have to request some car driver, auto, or whatever is there and take that person to hospital. So there is a small setback that the ambulance is not available as per your requirement. The ambulance may come, but it is coming late. There is no ambulance nearby and an ambulance is found many kilometers away and he is coming. But can you wait for that ambulance and leave this person to die till then? No, you cannot do it. So you have to adjust your approach. You have to say, okay, ambulance is not coming. Let me see. I can request this car driver, this auto, or anyone. Sir, please help me. Let us take this person to the hospital. You have to take that person to hospital immediately. This is how a leader works. A leader cannot be rigid and adamant that my solution is the right solution and there is no other solution to this problem. Some people do this because when you write the story and discuss in the PPDT, you feel your story is the best and you always try to push your story as the common story. Even when others do not agree and they're not supporting you, still there are people who keep pushing this. So that is a rigid behavior which is unofficer-like and you don't get marks for any OLQs if you do this. You have to be adaptable. You should be adjusting. You should be ready to face setbacks because everything will not go as per your own plan. You make 10 plans, but all 10 plans may fail. As we always say, there are 8 directions, cardinal directions on a flat plane. Then you have 2 more directions up and down. Okay, so there are total 10 directions. I can plan for the enemy's attack to come from these 10 directions and be prepared. But in war, the enemy may come from the 11th direction. What will you do? You cannot keep crying, say that I only know 10 directions. This is the logic which I have learned. I am prepared for facing the enemy in those 10 directions. How can the enemy come from the 11th direction? Can you ask that? No, you have to fight. You have to get ready. You have to adapt based on the situation, how it develops, and quickly adjust or change your strategy to face the threat which is coming from the 11th direction, unexpected direction, unexpected way, unexpected time. You should be prepared. So as a leader, if you show these things in your story, it shows that you are capable of performing in a confused situation. all your plans may go flat. Everything that you attempt is going on the downside. So you cannot say, oh my God, I am losing, I can't do anything, I am not able to think, I will not find a solution. No leader can do that. The leader has to face the situation and adapt a different strategy, modify the plan, and overcome that setback. Remember this always. In real life, this is how the situation unfolds in war. When you are fighting a war, you are part of a company and your platoon has been asked to capture something. You plan something. I will approach from this side. I will use this weapon. I will place that weapon there. This is the tactic I follow. It may so happen that where you didn't expect the enemy is there and he is firing at you. What will you do? You cannot run. You cannot cry, ayo amma. No. You have to revise your plan, change your strategy, and immediately implement that modified plan. This is how the leader works. Positivity and resourcefulness is very important in a leader. Positivity means the situation which is presented to you may be a real bad, dire situation. You have to accept that situation and come out of the situation and come at a positive outcome. Because situations which you face in defense may not be happy situations. You are always dealing with crisis. If you are given 10 crises, you cannot say, sorry, I've got 10 crises, I can't do anything, I'm going home. You can't say that. You have to tell me, okay, 10 crises, no problem, I will solve it. 11th crisis, another 10 crisis, no problem, I will solve. So that kind of a positive attitude will help you devise a proper plan. What happens is, the moment you get negative, the moment you get scared, the moment you get confused, the moment you get less confident, you have lost the war. Whatever may be the situation, you should be ready to face it and find a solution. There is a famous saying, note this down. Quote, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Unquote. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Okay. So ask this question. Am I dead? I am faced with 10 problems. Am I dead? No. Problems are there. I am still alive. And I am supposed to solve those problems. For example, one of your friends has had a breakup. Morning the message comes, breakup. After some times, you get a message that that person has failed in all subjects. After some time, when he was riding on a motorcycle with all this in the mind, he meets with an accident and he injures his leg. There is a fracture. Now, what is this person supposed to behave like? Ayyo amma kai odanjadu, breakup aidichu, arrears vandiruchu அப்படினு அழுதுகிட்டே உட்கார்ந்திருக்க முடியுமா? Yes, there is a problem, but I am still alive. செத்து போடல, உயிரோட தான இருக்கேன். Let me apply my mind and solve those problems. This is the strength you have to have mentally. Anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Remember this. Any problem you face in life, ask this question. Am I dead? There is a breakup today. You feel so heavy, you feel so bad. Ask yourself, am I dead? No. If I am alive, I will overcome this problem. I will solve this situation. This is how you have to face it. Same way in a military situation, you will have the problem. You may lose your radio operator. You don't have communication. You are running short of ammunition. The enemy is attacking from unexpected direction with more than what you expected type of weapons. One of your men has got injured. He is not movable. But you have to win the war. The only thing which you can ask yourself is, am I dead or am I alive? If I am alive, I will solve this problem. I am still alive. There have been generals in the Indian army. During war, one of the officer, he later retired as a general. Okay, I don't want the names. So don't disturb my flow. I know who's doing this. That officer in war, he got injured in his leg. And that injured leg was actually becoming an impediment for him to fight the war. He could not continue to fight because his leg was injured. What he did was, he drew out the kukri. He severed his part of that leg which was injured and it was hanging, dangling down. He cut it off, threw it away, put the kukri, that is the dagger, back into his kukri holder, and he started fighting. This is a leader who does not get perturbed by such things. Of course, it's a very grave thing. You can't imagine what will happen if you lose a leg. But this man was made of steel. He asked himself, am I alive or dead? The answer was, I am alive. What if I've lost a leg? I'm still alive. I will go and fight. So this is what is the positivity which is expected out of a military leader. And coming to resourcefulness, you don't always get full resources when you go to war. It is always that there is some shortage. It may be the shortage in manpower, weapons, ammunition, water, electronics, communication. Everything is not available to you. Every time you have something short. You have to find ways to overcome that shortage based on your resourcefulness. Resourcefulness itself is a big topic. If some actual resource is not there, how will you manage it? I'll give a simple example. I don't know how many people know this. There is an instrument called compass in your geometry box, which is used to make a circle. There is a needle on one end of that instrument. The other end is a holder for a pencil. You put the needle at the central point, that is the center of the circle, and you put the pencil which is attached to the other arm and rotate it, and you can make a circle. Just imagine if I tell you there is no compass, but you have a pencil. Make a circle. You can make a circle. Anybody who doesn't know, I'll show it. Without a compass, you can make a perfect circle with your hand using a pencil. That is resourcefulness. Don't disturb me. Others keep quiet. I don't want any disturbance when I'm talking. So resourcefulness is something where when you do not have the resources, you make arrangements, you overcome that with your intelligence and experience. Again, if you do not have real world experience, you cannot have resourcefulness. So again, it goes back to the same teaching which I've been giving you all the time. Part-time job, part-time work, or volunteer activity. Only then you will be good at resourcefulness. Then discussion. There are certain things which you have to discuss with your team members. You can't just do everything that it is right. You have to discuss, you have to take an opinion also from others when it is necessary. It doesn't mean that in the thick of war, if the person is dying in that accident situation, you start discussing with 10 people for 10 minutes, by the time that person would have died. Discussion has to happen, but with time limitation. Remember this always. Learning new skills. Now this is any kind of a learning that has come out of the situation needs to be mentioned there. That is, the hero did not know first aid, but since the pharmacist in the nearby medical shop knew first aid and he did it, the hero knew the medical, he just observed it and realized how first aid is done. And he decided to go and do a proper first aid course for future use. So, any learning, any situation, any bad situation especially, is a mode of learning. A difficult situation always teaches you something. Any situation for that matter teaches you something. A difficult situation teaches more valuable lessons to you. So you are learning new skills. You're taking away some lesson from that situation that also needs to be mentioned. Then further actions. You have taken action to save that person. You have taken action to clear the traffic. You have taken some kind of an action to ensure that the that place is a bit safe. That accidented portion, there was a big pit, there was a big pothole. So you do one thing, you just put some stone nearby, cut some branches and place them there so that the motorists understand that there is some pit or some thing there and they bypass it. That is there. And beyond that, further actions. Since that place is a accident prone area, you write a letter to the police commissioner, to the corporation, to the municipality, saying that this place is a bit accident prone. Why don't you put some barriers to slow down the traffic, or some signboards giving the speed limit, or a speed breaker or two in that area, so that the accidents are avoided in future. You may even ask the police to put a police constable. The traffic police could be placed in that place, because it is meant, it is like a place where it is facing a lot of accidents quite frequently. So these are all further actions. You are doing something for the future also. Determination I've already covered. Innovative thinking. As I told you, resourcefulness and innovative thinking go hand to hand. A very simple example you must have seen in many movies. The hero is injured, bleeding. The heroine is there next to him and she doesn't know what to do. So she doesn't have any bandage or anything. What she does is she just tears her sari, makes a small bit of that cloth out of the sari or a salwar, the dupatta or something, or even a handkerchief, and then applies it onto the wound. This is innovative thinking. Some real resources is not available. You have to see what can be an alternate option, what can be a substitute. Say somebody is injured, like small injuries, they keep saying at home, a small child falls down and it has got injured in the mouth. A tooth has broken or something. From the mouth, the child is bleeding. So the simple solution which our grandmother gives is take a little bit of sugar and apply it to that small injury, and then it stops. Maybe use some ice, put some ice there, and the bleeding stops. So these are all innovative thinking. So again, innovative thinking develops only if you start working in real life situations. Persistence. You cannot be in a hurry all the time. When you apply a solution, when you do something to solve a problem, you have to be persistent. Today's generation, you guys, you do not have the patience. You want everything quickly. Once you place the order on Amazon, you want it immediately. Once you order food in Swiggy, and for any reason that food is delayed, you get wild. You start getting tense. Get out of that, because situation doesn't work as per your convenience. Something goes wrong sometime, or maybe all the time. So you have to be persistent. You apply a solution, it does not work. You apply another solution, even if it does not work, you go for the third solution or the 17th solution. Have you heard the story about Robert Bruce? If you have not heard about the story of Robert Bruce, note it down and go and do this as a homework. What did Robert Bruce do? That is persistence. He never called it quits when things did not work for him. He did not run away saying that, oh my god, things are not working, I am going back. He was persistent. He kept on trying and finally he won. Robert Bruce story. In the next class, I'll be asking. If I don't ask, remind me. You guys need to tell me what is the story about Robert Bruce. Additional steps taken. So whatever you did is fine. In case you are able to take some additional steps, again that will also strengthen your story. Reflection. Reflection is nothing but thinking about what happened, how you try to solve it, how it was solved, and the takeaways from that for your learning, own learning. So as I told you, the hero did not know first aid, but he took the help of the medical shop owner who is a qualified person. He's a pharmacist, so they are supposed to know first aid. They learn it in their pharmacy course. So he did first aid to that person. Say for example, this person had an injury in the leg. There was a fracture. So how do you treat a fracture? You just can't tie some bandage and send that person to hospital. You have to put something called a splinter. There is a rigid thing. Now splinters come in plastic also nowadays. Earlier we used to apply splinters made of plywood and small wooden pieces like that, so that the broken leg is kept intact and it is tied, the splinter is tied to the leg so that it doesn't move or shake much. So that's a splinter. So this hero sees the medical shop owner gives such kind of a first aid to this injured person. He thinks, oh, this is how the fracture case needs to be attempted. So reflection. Later he says, okay, yes, I didn't know that. Good that I came to know about this. Now I'm going to do a first aid course and qualify myself in first aid. Similarly, you can take any other situation where you could have done something but you did not do that, know that simple thing, and you could not do, somebody else did it. You took it as a lesson for yourself and you went and started learning that thing. So all this is reflection. How you acted upon that situation. Was there a better way to act? Was there a better solution you could have given? That is all reflection, but it happens later. Introspection, it's all the same. Reflection is basically thinking about what happened. Introspection is basically thinking about how you performed in that situation. Was it satisfactory? Could you have performed in a better way? So all that is introspection. A leader always does introspect. After the operation, any military, after an operation, we have something called a debriefing. In the debriefing, the people who are part of the operation come back to the base and they debrief. Basically, they give the account of what happened to the senior officer, maybe the commanding officer or the brigade commander or the GOC. Debriefing is carried out, in which what happened, how it happened, what went right, what did not go right, what was the problem, how things could have been avoided, what planning changes we need to make in the future. All this forms the debriefing. So as a leader, you have to introspect how things went and you have to make plans to improve your performance next time. Lessons learnt. Lessons learnt is for common consumption. Introspection is about your own performance mainly. Lessons learnt is basically the whole overall picture of how the operation went and what was good, what wasn't good enough, how we could have performed better, what we did right, what the enemy did right or wrong. All these things have to be part of the lessons learnt. Now I am giving this into a very, very lengthy and very detailed explanation of all these points. But remember, you have to condense everything into a story in 4 minutes. So you cannot spend too much time in all this. For that, you have to remember this, all these points. And when you write different kinds of stories, you apply all these principles, practice writing the stories, and then when you have adequate practice of writing stories with all these points, you will be qualified to write a story in SSB interview as per what is required to be written. Okay, all this is practice. It may look very long, it may look very detailed, sir. So you are telling us so many things. How can we write all these things in 4 minutes? Maybe 10 odd lines which you're going to write on the paper. How can you put everything in? No, you're not expected to put everything in the same story. Some points may be applicable in some situations, some points may not be applicable. So that you always have to do. So you have to practice a variety of situations. You have to practice an accident situation, you have to practice a military operation, you may have to practice a natural calamity like a volcano or a tsunami or floods. You have to do something in relation to economy, some business which is happening, agriculture that is happening, lot of things. So the more number of pictures you solve, the more capable you will be to write nice stories for any given situation. Personal growth, as I told you, again I've already covered this. Whatever you learn from a situation, you should imbibe those things and you should improve yourself. That is your personal growth. You don't know something, you learn. You did something which is not very effective, next time you change the strategy, you learn things better. So that has to contribute to your personal growth. Then finally, the outcome of the story will be 1 or 2 lines. Outcome of the story means whatever challenges you had identified, the challenges have been solved, and whatever your original target activity was, going and playing a tournament, attending a function, going and watching a movie with your friends, you have to accomplish that also. Please always remember that. Because a situation cannot stop you from achieving your goal. Your achieving goal is the primary importance. But all these situations, all these setbacks come in between. In that journey, as a leader, you are supposed to solve all these and lead your men to final victory. So remember this always. So the outcome of the story will be the conclusion of efforts. Basically, the patient was shifted to the hospital and was safe. It was the outcome of the somebody calling the ambulance reaching, picking up that person, getting the first aid, and then getting the final treatment at the hospital, and the person is saved. So conclusion of this effort is the saving of that person. Same way, somebody had called the towing vehicle or the police who brought the towing vehicle. The accidented vehicle was removed from the site and taken to a site. Then the traffic was normalized and it started flowing normally. So that is the achievement, and it is the conclusion of these efforts. Somebody calling the police or the recovery vehicle and guiding them to that accident spot, helping them tow the vehicle, pick it up and take it to a site where there is no traffic problem. So this is the conclusion of these efforts. So you have to get all these things together. You have to show in the story that all the efforts which were taken have concluded and given the desired result. So this is something which I have already covered. Resolution of a challenge or achievement of a goal is the ultimate aim of the story. The final closing bit of the story is this. Broader impact of hero's actions. Now, whatever the hero has done, what is the broader impact? Broader impact is that a life was saved, an accident spot was identified and complained to the police or the corporation. Then they did something like establishing a check post, putting some barriers to reduce the speed, or have some speed breakers. So that is there. Then there were signboards kept on both sides of that road, where the traffic coming through could realize that this is an accident spot and they have to ride slow. So the hero's actions have to have a broader impact. That means it has to have a long lasting effect. So this is how you have to write that story. Yeah, this is something you guys should not forget. Expression of gratitude. The shopkeeper came and helped you, you should thank him. The police helped clearing the traffic, you should thank him. The ambulance driver was prompt enough to reach that spot, picked up that person, and took that person to the hospital within the golden hour. So he did that. So, and your own friends, your friend called the ambulance and somebody did something else, you have to acknowledge their efforts and thank them. Please always remember, everything, every closing ceremony goes with a vote of thanks. Same way, the closing ceremony of this problem will go with vote of thanks. That is, you recognize the work done by your comrades, your friends, the passers by, the shopkeepers nearby, and you have to give the credit to them. That is humility. You cannot go and say, sir, I have done everything, I did this, I did that, I did that, this, that, and all. Nobody will trust you. The moment you say, sir, my friends did all the job, I did not do much, but they did all the job, and the problem was solved. That is like a good leader. Okay, I have a personal example in my own life when, in a situation, such a thing happened. Okay, of course, that is for private discussion. When you guys meet me for offline class, you ask me what happened. Where there was a situation in which some of my subordinates performed very well, and I had recommended to somebody that these people need to be rewarded, but that leader, who is a higher official of mine, recognized the fact that I am not trying to take credit, and I am trying to give credit to my own subordinates, and I am trying to get some kind of a recognition, award, medal for them. What finally happened was, I recommended two of my subordinates for a medal, and finally all three of us got a medal each. Two of them they got, I also got a medal. And this is what that person told me, that senior officer told me, son, you have been a real leader. You have been the planning person. You have done all the planning. You have coordinated everything. You have taken work of your subordinates. But the final credit you want to give it to your subordinates. I think that is a good leadership trait, and that is the reason I have recommended you without your knowledge for a medal as well. I got a medal. I'll narrate this story sometime later in bigger detail. Okay, right. Now let's come to the do's and don'ts of writing the story. This is very important. Note this down again. First, the do's. Make the hero relatable. That means the hero and the hero's activities and the background of the hero should match with the picture and the story which you are spinning. There is a village story in which there is a bullock cart and somebody who is doing farming there. You cannot start writing something about the hero, that the hero is a software engineer, he is very good in software, and he was going to ISRO for to launch a missile. Something that is not related to the story at all. No, don't do that. Always spin a story in which everything is relatable. Even if that person is a ISRO scientist or what, maybe you will show him as the member who was born and brought up in that village, and he has returned to village on holiday, something like that. So whatever you do, whatever the hero does, and the background of the hero should set the scenario. It should mingle, it should be a match with the situation. Use details carefully. Whatever details are shown in the picture, don't lose sight of them. Stay positive and practical. Staying positive, I've already told you. Staying practical is something very important you need to know when you spin a story. Say the injured person is lying and the hospital is 5 kilometers away, and the injured patient is already losing lot of blood, and that person has gone into unconscious situation. You cannot say I will lift the patient and run to the hospital, admit him and get treatment. If you lift a person and run 5 kilometers, firstly, can you run? That is the question. It is not a practical thing. Again, to run 5 kilometers with some load on yourself, even for BPT where you carry rifle, ammunition and water, the best timing is, excellent timing is 25 minutes for 5 kilometers. Now you are carrying a human being who is almost weighing minimum 50 kilos. You will reach, even if you are so strong and you got that stamina to run so many kilometers with a weight of 60 kilograms, you still will reach after 1 hour. Can you save the patient? Maybe you will become a patient and fall down. So you have to be practical. You have to see what resources are available there, which will help you shift the patient immediately. As soon as possible, the patient should get medical attention. Only then you can save the life. So if you apply a impractical solution, it is going to fail. So always think what is practical. Don't apply impractical solutions. Clear actions. Again, I've already talked about this. Whatever is the action, it has to be clear. You cannot tell a friend, ensure that the traffic is cleared. You don't know how he's going to do that. Being a leader, you have to tell him, please call the ambulance, please call the police or the recovery van, get this accidented vehicle out of the way and try to regulate the traffic. Stop one side traffic, let one side traffic pass. Then if it is junction, then you'll have to regulate the traffic properly. If there is a traffic police, take his help and do it. So you have to explain this task to him. You cannot say just take care and finish it off, then you will not get the mark. So whatever actions you do has to be very clear, thought of, and then explained properly to the correct people. Teamwork, no emphasis on this further. It's already been covered amply. Teamwork. You are a team leader and you are a team person. You cannot seek personal glory. You cannot take credit for the successes. Actually, a leader gives credit to his subordinates when the team wins and takes the blame when the team fails. This is a good leader. If there is success, you say your subordinates have done it and give the credit to him. If we fail, you cannot take the names of your subordinates, say that this guy didn't do it well, this guy got late, so that is why we failed. No, a leader says, yes, it is my fault. My lack of planning, my lack of correct application of resources, that we failed. I take the responsibility. Military leaders have always been like that. If you read military history, there have been great generals who have won many wars. But when they lose a war, when their team, when their brigade or division or any sort of a army division, they lose, they take moral responsibility and they move out. They no more remain in command. This is a practice in the military. I don't know if how many of you know this or not. He may be an illustrious general who has fought many wars, but one war where his forces do not succeed, he is immediately replaced. Somebody else comes in. Always remember, there is a general, German general called Rommel. Note this name down. If you get time, go and read Rommel. Biography of Rommel is available. Go and search for it. If you have time, if you got the reading habit, you should have the reading habit. Go and read Rommel. Rommel was one of the most spectacular generals in the Second World War. He won so many victories for the German army. But there was a time Rommel himself was removed from command. Just go and check that history, how it happened, why it happened. So a leader, the baseline is this. A leader gives credit to his team when the team succeeds and takes the blame when the team does not. Remember this always. This is the crux of teamwork. Don't describe the picture. This I've already covered. Avoid unnecessary problems and conflicts. They might have shown something in the picture. You please don't bring any new problem from outside. You cannot create a new problem and try to solve it. Remember this always. There are some people who say, sir, there is no problem in this picture. It is a normal picture. So let me create a problem and solve it. That is not acceptable. No morals or preaching. This is basically, you cannot waste your time in writing these things, that good deed always results in blessings. That's a moral or a preaching. So don't do such things there in the story. No proverbs and all put inside the story. Don't put others down. Very important. You cannot show anybody else in poor light. Anybody who's part of your team, anybody who's part of that story, do not give a negative feedback at that person. Say an accident happens, somebody got injured. You cannot say the car driver hit the motorcyclist and the motorcycle got injured, the car driver ran away. Unless it is shown in the picture, you should not say that the car driver ran away. So basically, don't create a problem and solve it. Don't show anybody in a poor light. So whoever you find, you should always approach them with a positive attitude. Don't portray your hero as a low profile, weak or helpless person. This I've already covered. Anybody who's injured and lying fainted, you can't make that person a hero. If the picture clearly depicts a robber or a murderer, you cannot make that person a hero. Remember this. There are some people who write, a person is holding a gun and he's trying to kill somebody. You say in the college play, the hero was the person who played the role in this thing. So that is a bit too imaginative. Okay, that much imagination is like, it's an artificial imagination. You're not using your real imagination. Just guard against such things. Like showing some crime scene as part of a drama or a cinema. It looks very stupid because you are not making the effort of using your imagination to create a story. So that is what the implication is going to be. Avoid unrealistic or miraculous solutions. I've already told you this. Even in the last class I discussed, don't be a Superman or a Rajnikant who kicks one person and 100 persons get injured with one kick. or one person is thrown on 10 people and all 10 people fall down because one person has been thrown. So these are all unrealistic solutions. Please be practical. What is practically humanly achievable, only that needs to be shown in the action. Right? So now we complete the story. We will go to the discussion part later in the next class.